Yo, 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 what's up? What's up, Brock? All right, let's wait for some more people to join here. Pull up my notes. Alrighty. Good evening. We got 7. Okay, it's not bad. Let's wait till we get to double digits, then we'll get started. Good evening, everybody. How we doing? I'm a little frazzled here. I got this wonderful, TV in front of me, and I don't have a remote for it, which is just sad. I could be watching the Vikings. What is the score of the Vikings-Rams game right now? Rams are up 10-3. In the second quarter. Okay. Vikings got a chance to come back. All right, I'm going to wait for us to get to double digits, if we get to double digits, and then we'll get started. A little midweek slate. Antoine, how we doing? It's a fun midweek slate. I guess a couple things before we get started here while I wait for more people to join. So for sure on Wednesday, me and DeBundo live stream. Probably go live a little bit after the 2:30 matches start. All right, we're at double digits now. I might do a live watch along tomorrow. I don't know yet. Some things I need to figure out first. And if everything falls in line, then I'll do it. But if not, then I won't. So just stay tuned to my Twitter. I'll, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get alerted when I go live. But we're going to try to do some live watch-alongs. Midweek slate will be a lot of fun, especially tomorrow. There's a lot of really good matches that I'm excited for. So, yeah, that's that. I will say if anybody doesn't want to hear me talk for an hour, I did a long read on my Substack today. It's free to everybody. Basically just a ton of notes for the midweek slate. There's no picks in there. There's no betting advice. It's just purely just me analyzing and breaking down the matches, how I see them kind of going, and with some things to look for with each match. So if you want to read, any of the stuff that I'm putting out there, and obviously I have some data visualization stuff in there as well. If you want to read that, you can go there, and that is available for everybody for free. Let's get started here. I think there's only one place to start, right? North London Derby, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Central time. As of right now, hang on, let me pull up the odds here. As of right now, my Arsenal Gunners are minus 250. Tottenham is 6-1. Draw is at plus 425, and the total is at, what is that, 3.25? Yeah, 3.5 plus 108. Thoughts on El Clasico yesterday. Barcelona can beat Real Madrid, but I got to go back and watch it. I'll be flat honest with you. I watched part of it. It's just Barcelona's high line's just so hilarious every single time I watch it, and it's gonna limit them. But yeah, Barcelona did a great job of limiting Real Madrid at dribbling basically through them is kind of the gist of it, and then they just kind of punished them. So I guess Barcelona's got Real Madrid's number. But in any case, first up, North London Derby. I don't really have a pick on this match. So there's a couple things here. So number one for Arsenal, we have to take into account the fact that Tottenham played a little bit differently against Liverpool, right? You can go read my tactical analysis on it, but don't get confused by Ange. He'll just keep saying, well, we only know how to play one way, mate. I can't do a good Australian accent, but we're going to keep playing the way we've been playing and all this stuff. He didn't really do that. Like they pressed high against Liverpool. but they also played very direct. They did turn the ball over quite a bit, mainly in wide areas. They were trying to get um, these 4-man combination bounce passes. So essentially, what it means is like, okay, we're getting the ball out wide, right? We're looking for the fullback to drop deep to receive the ball from the center back right there, right? And he's going to bounce past that thing as the pivot midfielder is just breaking past this guy, right? And then it's a one-touch pass. You can get the ball to the winger, hopefully, to get through there. Now, that worked at times against Tottenham. I don't think that's really going to work here against Arsenal. Arsenal's like still the best pressing team in the Premier League as of right now. They're going to make life very, very difficult if Tottenham tries to build it to the back. And if Tottenham is going to do what they did against Liverpool, where, maybe not do those 4-man combinations, but instead try and play more direct, which led to the only goal that they had. Arsenal's incredibly good at defending those direct balls. They're so good at winning second balls. And we're still in the same situation here with Tottenham, where Van de Ven and Romero are both out. Looks like they'll be back on the 26th of this month, which will be good for them. Forster, is doubtful. So you have a third choice goalkeeper, whoever it's going to be. Udogie is still out. Bentancur is out as well, and so is Ben Davies. So it's like the exact same situation that we've been dealing with Tottenham for quite some time. So I really just don't see a route in how they're going to create a bunch of chances in this match, or have this match even be really that high scoring. Because, you look at the previous meeting between these two, what happened? Arsenal scored off a set piece, and then they just sat deep. And they sat incredibly deep. They closed off everything through the middle, and they said, Tottenham, you're not playing through the middle. You're going to have to play the ball out wide, where you don't have wingers who can beat us in 1v1 situations. And suddenly Tottenham creates 0.7 expected goals off of 15 shots, and they just do absolutely nothing against Arsenal, who was sitting in like a 6-2-2. Just like a really, really compact structure. So I think this is a bad situation here for Tottenham. But again, I have it projected right around where the market has it. I have Arsenal at minus 221. I've totaled at 3.46. So, I there's not really much here for me. I mean, you could make the case, like, of course, Arsenal is way overdue to score. 1 goal off of a little over 8 expected in their last 2 matches against Newcastle and Manchester United. So I was just going to look up. I hadn't looked at what Arsenal's shot props are. Arsenal's shots is 16.5 and Arsenal's is 9.5. That's right around where I have it in the market. So for me, I just don't really. HU, why are you in here? You don't need to be in here. So for me, I had nothing in this match. I'm very excited to watch Kai Havertz put a freaking header right in your goal. So yeah, that's my take on the North London derby. I think Arsenal is really going to sustain pressure in this match. They're really going to pin Tottenham inside the final third and make life very, very difficult until they get to that positive game state, and then they're going to sit back defensively. But yeah, Arsenal's just on a bad finishing run right now. It'll come back. We'll be fine. I saw some reports Vlahovic maybe on loan or something, which I would be okay with. I don't mind Vlahovic. We need an aerial threat in the box, just kind of what it comes down to. So that's North London derby. Yeah, put the questions in the chat as we're going about this. Thoughts on Nice versus a Ligue Ligue 2. Is that how you pronounce it? Do in French. Coupe de France. Who depends? Who are they playing? Can you tell me? Because I haven't looked. If I'm being totally honest with you, Antoine, I haven't capped the Coupe de France yet. I did not even realize that they were playing a Coupe de France tomorrow. Are they? I don't see it on my thing. Gabriel Bastia. What are they playing tomorrow or Wednesday? Because I don't see it for Tuesday's schedule. I don't see what I don't see it. I'm not seeing it on my thing. Am I missing it? Am I missing something? I'm on live score right now and I don't see anything to do with Coupe de France. That's gonna bother me. Hang on. It's gonna bother me. Hang on. Unless live score just straight up doesn't have it. Oh. Why did it not pop up on my live score? That's weird. Oh yeah, Monaco playing Reims, Nice playing Bastia, Marseille and Lille. Google showing at 2:45. I don't know why. Live score is usually the app that I use, and I was just like scrolling down and it just didn't even pop up. Like it just went from like, obviously like it was, it goes filters by most popular competition, and after Copa del Rey and then English Championship, it just goes straight to the National League, Scottish Premier League, A League, Scottish Championship. Yeah, I don't know why that didn't pop up. In any case, I haven't handicapped it yet, so I don't really know at this point. I mean, even money. I love Nice. I love them quite a bit. I've been betting on them a lot. Reims Monaco is interesting. Maybe I'll go through and put those in the projections or something. But yeah, I don't really have anything for the Coupe de France games tomorrow. Okay, let's move on. What should we do first? Should we do Bournemouth and Chelsea or Brentford and City? What are we thinking here, chat? What are we thinking? Bournemouth, Chelsea, or Brentford? We got to vote for Bournemouth. Give it 10 seconds, and then we'll move on, and we'll do Bournemouth if nobody else has any. All right, Bournemouth, Chelsea. There you go. 2 votes for Bournemouth and Chelsea. So yeah, I guess if you subscribe to the Substack, you'll see that I bet Bournemouth +1. I can't remember the odds off the top of my head, but I bet them +1 last week. It was, and that they're kind of sitting around the same price, +1 at -105 right now. Some things have changed for Bournemouth, obviously. Even Nielsen's going to be out till April, and Unal is also out. So Bournemouth is without a striker right now. In the FA Cup match against West Brom, they played Ouattara as a striker. He scored twice, which is great, but it also is West Brom. Now they're playing Chelsea. I guess the concern you could have is, number one, he's not a very good striker, right? Like comparatively to Even Nielsen. That is definitely a concern. But he is a very good presser, and I think he's somebody who can lead the press, and that's very, very key here against Chelsea. Bournemouth is turning opponents over in dangerous areas at the highest rates of anybody right now. And in the previous meeting, I think this might be a record for the Premier League this season, but Bournemouth forced 39 losses in Chelsea's third of the pitch. 11 of them led to shots. That's crazy. I think that might be a record so far for the Premier League. And they really dominated Chelsea in that match, but just got on, basically got on the bad end, some variance. But yeah, they really like to pin teams to one side of the pitch. They like to use a lot of curved runs to basically force the goalkeeper to go one side of the pitch. And really, for Chelsea to be successful here, which I don't think they're going to do, they got to play direct. And I know that's, a challenging thing to do when you're a big favorite at home and you should be winning. You should be controlling matches, controlling possession. But in general, I think the risk of playing out of the back against Bournemouth far outweighs the reward of what they're going to get from it. I think playing direct will give them a much bigger reward. Now, you can make the argument that Chelsea, now that they have Lavia and Caicedo as the dueling defensive midfielders, they have the ability now to play Enzo and Palmer as dueling number 10s, right? So they can both drop deep and build up. They can pull some of Bournemouth's defensive midfielders or center backs out of position and hopefully make some runs in behind there. That could work. But given how successful Bournemouth was in the previous meeting and how good they've been at pressing teams, I think it's a dangerous game to play, right? And that passing combination that I talked about with Tottenham, Chelsea used that quite a bit against Bournemouth in the previous meeting, and it led to a ton of turnovers, right? That bounce pass that I'm talking about, it can be very effective and it can open teams up in an instant. But when it doesn't work, you leave yourself out of position for teams to hit you quickly from those high turnovers, and Bournemouth can obviously do that to them. And the final thing about Chelsea, and I'll just keep saying it week after week, they are a much better team, whether it's under Pochettino or whether it's under Maresca. The current structure of the team is way better at playing direct than building out of the back. Go look at any of their matches where they've put up a ton of expected goals. It's either with teams playing high lines and them able to make runs in behind that, or they were the ones sitting in a mid-block and able to transition off of it. Their best matches have been when they've been able to play in transition. They can do that in this match. They can, because Bournemouth's going to press them. And I don't think they're going to do it. I think that's going to limit them. So I like Bournemouth here. I like them +1, and I like that quite a bit. I only have Chelsea projected at -117. So some pretty decent value here on Bournemouth. Devando, you're late. I didn't say the Gunners were cooked. I said they're going to cook on Wednesday. Yeah, it'll be fun to have Anthony on Wednesday. That's the first time. That'll be the first time that we've ever actually kind of watched a match together, which will be a lot of fun. OG Wonder Goal fans, I think will like that. Okay, so let's move on. Brentford and Manchester City. City's busy in the little transfer market here. Not buying midfielders, maybe the thing they really actually needed to buy as a temporary fix. No, they're buying promising young Uzbek center backs from loans. They're buying. I saw I bought some dude from Brazil today. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And it looks like Omar Mamouche. He's coming. He's coming to the Premier League. So great. I mean, it actually is a good move. They needed a secondary striker to Holland. So that's actually a pretty decent move. Reese is the other guy. Vitor Reese. Yep. That's the other guy's name from Brazil. $40 million, right? So, I mean, how can you not like the Bees here, right? How can you not love them? There's obviously a number of different ways to play Brentford in this match. I have played them +1, which is available at -120 right now at Bet365. So here are the problems with City. I know they beat Gary Neville's team that he owns 8-0. They beat West Ham 4-1. They beat Leicester 2-0. Now suddenly they're back. No. Go look at the stats from the Leicester match and the West Ham match, and you will see a picture that shows you that they are not even close to being back. Against West Ham, they had 233 passes in West Ham's final third. They converted that many passes to 28 box touches and 10 shots. That's it. I know you'll see, oh, well, they created over 2 expected goals. It's like, great. Who isn't doing that against West Ham right now? And the problems that exist with them of being able to not only press effectively, but teams just continually making runs off their back line. I mean, what better team in the Premier League to do that than Brentford with Wissa and Mbeumo and Sade? They're going to punish them over and over and over again. And the worry sometimes with Brentford when they play bigger teams and they like to play very compact is it's hard to break out of a very compact structure, right? Like it's hard to hit teams in transition when you're defending so deep and you're defending so compact. So when you get elite counter-pressing teams like Arsenal, for example, it can be very hard when you win the ball to actually transition out of there and actually, get some breathing room and actually create chances. Against Arsenal's 5 shots, 0.3 expected goals, nothing. Against City, it's a different story, though, because City can't counter-press effectively right now. They're continually late on their counter-pressing. They're old, they're slow, and Brentford is going to punish them with that. In addition to that, we always have to talk about set pieces when we talk about Brentford. Most recently got Matthias Janssen back, I'll mention, as their set piece taker. Brentford, third most efficient team on set pieces. City, 16th in XG per set piece allowed. It's just the kind of the same story over and over. City not good at defending wide areas, allowing the 14th most crosses to be completed in their penalty area. Obviously, Brentford likes to get the ball wide and swing in those cutback crosses. In the previous meeting also, I thought was kind of interesting. Brentford pressed City high early on. Like they just went and tried to take it right to them from the jump. And they actually were causing some problems. They were actually the better team for, I'd say, the first half hour of that match. And then City kind of turned things around. But this is Brentford at home. We know how good they are at the GTEC Stadium. Now, you can go look at their splits from home and away this season. They've played all the bad teams at home and they played all the good teams on the road. So it's kind of hard to say, oh my gosh, Brentford's so good at home versus on the road. It's like, okay, well, they played, for whatever reason, the schedule just bounced on them and they played all the bad teams at home and all the good ones away from home. So, but yeah, no, I think this is a great spot here for the Bees to be able to take advantage of City's high line, to be able to really hit them in transition. So yeah, I love the Bees. What do I think of West Ham under Potter? Well, let's move on. West Ham and Fulham. I think West Ham, it remains to be seen what they're going to look like under Potter. The FA Cup match, they had no training time, like literally no training time before that match. So Potter kind of just kept things simple, right? 4-4-2, played very direct, wasn't really doing anything different than what they were doing under Lopetegui. And, playing direct kind of worked against Aston Villa. Obviously, I don't think that's really going to work here against Fulham. A couple things that we need to note about Potter before we get into this. So Potter, when he was at Brighton, the structure of his team is a little different than the one he's inheriting here with West Ham, specifically in the midfield. He had guys like Pascal Gross and Alexis McAllister in that midfield, guys who were able to control the ball, guys who were able to feel the tempo of matches, guys who were able to really conduct a build-up. Now he has Edinson Alvarez and Thomas Souček and Guido Rodriguez. Not exactly the ideal midfield if you're going to consistently play possession-based football and build it out of the back. So what I think you're going to see early on here from West Ham is a lot of the same that you saw under Lopetegui. But you're going to see, I think, some better defensive structure. It's hard to say, right? Because Potter's providing them with a 4-4-2 defensive structure, and they're actually pretty decent defending in that. But the composition of the team is not really set up well to play a low block. They should just be playing a mid block. And it's tough, right? Because they were actually pretty decent against Aston Villa. Held them to 0.9 expected goals from open play. The hard part is we've been through Moyes, we've been through Lopetegui, and I like Graham Potter a lot. But what he's going to have to do is he's going to have to transition West Ham more to like a mid-block team that can press out of it. I think is their best bet to actually be successful. The big thing in this match is wide areas. So Fulham obviously likes to build through those wide areas. One of a key principle, out of possession principle for Potter at Brighton. They were a counter-pressing team, but when the ball went wide, he wanted them to hammer it out there and press relentlessly when the ball went out wide. And you saw that a little bit against Aston Villa early on in the FA Cup, but obviously, not much training time. It can become pretty difficult to actually drill that in and have it be successful. So that's really what's going to come down to. West Ham is allowing the second most crosses in the penalty area. Fulham's best crossing team. So If Fulham's able to build through wide areas and they're able to be successful with that, if you're looking to live bet the match and you want to see certain aspects of what can be successful, just watch how good Fulham is at through those wide areas. The other thing to look out for is utilizing those direct balls. If West Ham is able to bait Fulham into pressing them, I don't think Fulham, for whatever reason, they should never try and press. They're just not good at it. Number one, they're old and they're slow. Like if you're talking about teams that are like fast versus I'd say Fulham is probably one of the slowest out there. Not that that's a bad thing necessarily, but in general, like the composition of the team, Fulham is slow. If you ever watch them press, they're always late. They're always late to every press. And it's more just like a token press to try and force the ball long, right? Because they're good at winning those duels. If West Ham can bait that press in, I think they might have a decent chance of playing through them here. But, for me, I have this, projected right around the market is. I have Fulham at plus 138. They're at plus 145 right now. The total is sitting over 2.5 minus 138, which is kind of right in line with where I have the total at as well. So yeah, for me, I'm just passing on this one. Kind of just take a step back and maybe see a little bit more of what West Ham is going to be under Graham Potter. But I do think in the long term that West Ham will be better off with Potter. I think he's a very, very good manager. And given enough time on the training ground, I think he can. I think this summer they'll have to make a few different signings to fit his. Well, I guess they have the January transfer window to do it. I already saw that Dewsbury Hall was on their radar, which I think would be that'd be fantastic. That would be a really, really good signing for them because obviously, Chelsea just spending like crazy, spending $40 million on a guy who's played like 3 matches. Now they're going to sell him for like $20 million. That's just great business right there. All right, let's move on to the final match on Tuesday. I apologize, I haven't been reading off the odds. Forest and Liverpool. Forest is plus 425, Liverpool minus 163, draw plus 310. I like Forest. I've done back-to-back tactical analysis of Liverpool, right? So I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what they're trying to do here. I think Nottingham Forest is just going to kind of do what both Manchester United and Tottenham were able to do. Just hammer that Liverpool right side with Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Hudson-Odoi has been in great form. He's somebody that can cause a lot of problems down that left wing. And the reason, some of Liverpool's matches have been high scoring. The reason for that is because they are pressing high and they are pressing more aggressively. Which, forced Tottenham into a lot of long balls up the pitch. Same thing with Manchester United. And, they've been okay at defending those, but there have been some times where guys have been able to get through that and cause some problems. So I think that what you'll see is obviously Forest is going to play very direct. They're going to hammer that Liverpool right side of the pitch, and they're going to try to take advantage of their set piece opportunities. So that is really the method of what I think Nottingham Forest is going to do. And then defensively, sit in a very compact defensive structure. Don't let Liverpool play through the middle, and win aerial duels with the crosses they send in. Liverpool should start Darwin Nunez here. If you go back to the previous meeting, they started Jota up top. And he got like one header in the box. And then it was just like, it was very clear that all Liverpool was going to be able to do was basically just swing the ball out wide and try and send in crosses. So I do think that that's not going to work though against Nottingham Forest. Since they don't let you play through the middle, you can't really create many high quality chances. And since they're so good at winning those aerial duels, nobody's creating big scoring chances against them. So I only have, and I mean, the price too. I mean, a full goal on the road. Like I get it, Liverpool is awesome, and Forest has overperformed this season, right? Like I think that's a fair statement that Forest, based on their underlying numbers, probably shouldn't be in third place, but they are. But even if you wanted to just like you know, if you want to just go on straight expected goal differential, I mean, it's about 1 is the difference. Then you count for home field advantage. I think you can get to you can get pretty close here to Nottingham Forest. So I have Forest projected at plus 332, Liverpool spread at minus 0.56. So I like Forest. Why not? They've been awesome. They've been incredibly difficult to play against. And yeah, they're overperforming a little bit, but you know what? I'm glad that they are up there because what they're teaching everybody is that everybody doesn't have to play pep ball. That playing direct and being really solid defensively can get you a long way if you're a mid-table team. So I like Forest quite a bit here. Latest on the Trent contract situation. Are they really going to let him walk? It appears that way. Well, I mean, if you want to get nerdy, Michael Edwards is now the guy back in charge of Liverpool, the guy who the early days of Klopp, that was the guy behind the scenes that really built Liverpool into the team that they were. He left. Liverpool made a couple purchases that. Can you guys hear me now? Somebody in the chat, let me know if I'm good or not. I don't have no idea. All good. All right, good. We lost like 15 people, but that's okay. I don't know what happened there. All right. Let me just retweet this. Okay, where was I? I was talking about Trent. Okay, let's see. All right. We were at the Trent contract situation. Yeah. No, that was my internet. I don't know what happened there. Looks like we got 4 of us right now, but that's okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to tweet out that I fixed the technical difficulties so people can come back, hopefully. And if not, we'll finish out with the 4 of us here. All right, we're back. We got 12 people. All right, we're back. We're okay. All right. I was looking in the chat here. Antonio, what's good? If Newcastle never lose again, do they win the league? I could go do the math. I could tell you. Here, let me do the math for you. Let's do the math really quick. That sounds like a fun mathematical problem. All right, so based on my simulations, so if Newcastle wins every single match until the end of the season, right, they would finish with 89 points. Let me wait for my simulations here. They would not. Based on my simulations, no, they wouldn't. I have Liverpool as of right now, before this match week, I have them projected for 91 points. So no. If Newcastle literally cannot win the league if they went out, in my opinion. All right, let me undo what I just did because that's gonna bother me. Okay, all right, we're good. Okay. Yeah, the underdog parlay. It's Brentford, Bournemouth, Forest. That's it. Duh. That's pretty simple. All right, we're all good here. I know there's only 11 of us, but we'll finish out with 11. All right, let's move on. So that was Tuesday. Let's move on to Wednesday. Everton, Aston Villa. I feel so happy. No, we're not throwing Spurs in. Shut up, Brendan. Everton against Villa. Everton's plus 225. Villa's plus 135. The draw's plus 220. David Moyes is back, and it's so beautiful. I'm so happy. Oh, I love when teams do this. When they fall in love with nostalgia.
It feels good. I was talking to Michael. He's very happy about it, which I'm glad. Yeah, it's so beautiful. I think it's a decent match for them, honestly, if we're being totally honest, the way David Moyes likes to play. Now, the question I think with Everton is like this, okay? So they're playing a high block under Deitch. They were still turning opponents over in dangerous areas at the third highest rate. Do they continue to play that way? Do they continue to play that way, or do they play the classic David Moyes low block counterattacking football? He's inherited the perfect team for his style of play, right? Everton is the perfect team for him. What he has now with Everton is physicality. West Ham didn't have that. West Ham right now, as of I think they're dead last still in ground duel win rate this season. Kind of the same story last year. Now he has physical midfielders, physical defenders that are really well structured at closing off the middle of the pitch, right? So I think it'll make Everton better defensively. I think they'll be really good. Was sacking Deitch the right move? It's a good question. You want my heart or my head? My heart says no, never. You should never sack that man. They became too reliant on set pieces, and they weren't really that good at them anymore, is the problem that they were running into. When Deitch says he's like, I took them as far as I could take them, I don't really believe that. I think they could have been a lot more aggressive out of possession. I think they could have been a lot less conservative. And I think he could have taken them to higher heights, but he wasn't willing to do that. But in any case, I do think that I'm passing on this match, by the way. Do show a little value on Villa, but I'm not stepping into the David Moyes new manager bounce return to Goodison Park. I'm not doing that. No, sir. So if you want to bet on Everton, go ahead, have some fun. But yeah, the question I put in my notes was this. Okay, Villa can be exposed from their high line. They can. They, especially those kind of direct balls in behinds. And Everton can do that. They absolutely can. But they actually have to show me that they can create high quality chances before I decide to back them. Everton, since the start of October, has created 8 points. Look up the exact number here. Since the beginning of October, they have created, it was 12. 12.7 expected goals in 13 matches. That's the lowest in the Premier League. So the question is, can David Moyes improve them offensively? I think that kind of remains to be seen. I think a little less reliance on set pieces will be a good thing for Everton. Try to score from open play a little bit more. But in general, I'm passing on this match. Villa is going to try to bait Everton into pressing, but if Everton just doesn't take the bait and they just sit back, I don't think Villa's going to have a real good shot at breaking them down unless they complete some crosses. So, also side note, why did Villa sign Malin from Dortmund? Is it because Watkins or Duran is leaving in the summer? Is that why they did it? Because that literally makes no sense to me. I think that money could have been spent on a winger out on the left-hand side of the pitch, but that's just me. All right. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I hate Tottenham, but their money line being plus 550 is absolutely no. It's not crazy. We don't suck right now. We're on a bad finishing run. Arsenal 1 goal from 8 expected the last 2 matches. Yeah, it's frustrating. It is what it is. Teams go through ruts, and Arsenal's going through a rut right now. But guess what? Now we get to play the perfect opponent for us, and we're going to hammer them, and I'm going to stuff it right into Bundo's face. All right. So that's Everton, Aston Villa, Leicester, Crystal Palace. Leicester's plus 290, Palace minus 110, draw plus 260. I don't really understand what style of play Leicester is trying to do under Van Nistelrooy. You can go look at the data visualizations that I put in my Substack notes. Against City, they were playing like the exact same way as City, like building out of the back, tilting the field on them, controlling possession, doing a great job. And against Villa, they just played super direct out of a 4-4-2. So I don't know what they're going to do here against Palace. If they want to try to build it at the back, Palace has been man-to-man pressing a little bit more often. But Leicester sitting back in their 4-4-2 did a really good job against Villa, if we're being honest. They did a really good job defensively being compact and closing off a lot of those lanes. Only held Villa to 1.4 expected goals, and there was a penalty in there, if I'm remembering that correctly. So let's see. I'm pretty sure there was a penalty. Let me just double check that before I just go off. There was not. Excuse me. All right. Well, still 1.4 expected goals from. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at the shots right now. Really, I mean, Villa's best chances came like right at the end. Other than that, I mean, Villa took 3 shots in the first half. So great job defensively by them. Leicester held Liverpool to 2 expected goals. They held City to 1.4. So like the defense has been improving for Leicester. So I guess that's like a positive you could take for the Foxes. Mavdini and El Khanis, if that's how you pronounce his name, those are 2 pretty decent attackers that can maybe give Palace some problems in transition. But again, Palace, it really just comes down to how effective they are at playing in between the lines, right? How effective Eze and Sarr are at playing in between the lines, playing in those half spaces and finding those pockets of space to get through the middle of this Leicester 4-4-2, which is generally what they're going to try and do. Hermanson is still injured for Leicester, which is a problem. Eze is a marksman from around that 18-yard box. So what is Eze to score from outside the box? That might be a fun one. 8-1, gross. No. Just so in theory, just to let everybody know out there before, if you don't know, an average shot from outside the box has an XG rating of 0.03, aka a 3% chance of going in. Bet365 right now is boosting from 7-1 to 8-1 for Eze to score from outside the box. 8-1. The implied odds on 8-1 is 11%. So that's a negative 8% expected value on a shot. So just be careful out there, everybody. Okay. So yeah, I don't really have anything for that match. I had Palace projected at let me just double check where I had it projected at. I had Palace projected at -116. It's -110 right now. Total a little high, maybe a little value on the over, but I think that this match is actually generally going to be more low scoring than people think. All right, let's move on to Newcastle and Wolves. Newcastle, who cannot lose. They're -275. Wolves is +650. The draw is +450. I generally think Newcastle's getting way overvalued in the market right now. Excuse me. And I think this is the case of what they are. Of course, they're scoring a ton of goals. Of course, they've changed things around where they're, having Guimaraes in a more attacking role, which has really helped not only their attacking output, but also their press. With him being in those more advanced roles, when they do win the ball, he's able to have someone to be able to supply Ishak or Gordon or whoever's in there. And I think the question in this match is really for Wolves, how direct are you going to play? Because you really should be playing very direct in these type of matches. You should not be trying to build out of the back against Newcastle's man-to-man press. I think Strand Larson, Hee-Chan Hwang, Cunha, if you want to play direct, I think they can win 1v1 duels and those direct balls over the top against Newcastle's back line. I really do think they can do that. So that's going to be, I think that's Wolves' best route. And we haven't really seen, Newcastle, they're like one of the best teams in the world from a positive game state. They can just, when they get ahead and they're just able to they are able to just keep pressing and keep going forward and keep playing in transition. Like they're so difficult to play against. But I would love to get to a situation where they're playing against one of these teams that's playing a low defensive block and watch them try and break it down, because I don't think they can really do it. Ishak is a great aerial threat. He's a great 1v1 dribbler, and he's created a ton of chances for them. Like, he's just awesome. I wish Arsenal would just drop 150 million on him right now, because we would never lose ever again if we just had him. But of course, it's not my money. It's Stan Kroenke's money. And so if Wolves is able to sit in a 5-4-1, and they're able to stay compact, and they're able to deny Newcastle from playing through the middle, and they're able to win a lot of the aerial duels that, when they swing cross in the box, is there a route to them covering here? Absolutely. Absolutely. The problem is with taking Wolves on like a spread or whatever it is like I mentioned, when Newcastle get into those positive game states, it becomes much, much more difficult. And we've seen Wolves try to press high at times, usually in man-to-man fashion. Kind of struggle in that aspect. Nottingham Forest was able to play a little direct against them when they try to press them. So if you're looking for something to play, I kind of like Wolves plus 1.5. But St. James Park is always a very difficult place to go and try and stomach a bet. Just watch how the line goes here too. I was looking because I was kind of curious of what Leicester closed at in early December against Newcastle. It was like minus 350. If Newcastle gets to that high, then I might play Wolves. We'll see. But in general, I'm just passing. If you want to have some fun and do like what is Ishak's minus 125 to score? It's probably good, but I'll pass. Okay. So that's Wednesday. We already did the North London Derby. Thursday, Ipswich Brighton. Ipswich is plus 275. Brighton's minus 112. The draw is plus 270. I have an idea for this match. The 0-0 is 12-1. Kind of like the 0-0. Go look at what happened in the previous meeting, and I don't think really anything's really changed. I don't think really anything's really changed since then. If you really think about it, that was like one of the first matches where Ipswich just stopped trying to press high, and they sat in a very low, compact structure. Right now they're playing basically a 5-3-2, 5-2-3. It like varies. It doesn't really matter. It's very compact. They're doing an okay job in it. They're doing okay. They're improving. They did that against Brighton. Brighton took 5 billion shots. None of them, other than like they had a good direct counterattacking opportunity in the first half with Matoma. And then after that, Ipswich just settled in. And Brighton just took a ton of low-quality chances, like a ton of them, to the point where it was just like, all right, like that's the thing with Brighton. Outside of City, they've attempted the second most shots from outside the box. They have a lot of great individual players, and those individual players think that they can make those shots from outside the box, and they generally settle for those. So I think that's what you're going to see a lot of in this match. Now, it's the same thing with Ipswich, right? I mean, it happened against Fulham. It happened against Chelsea. They just rely on a few counterattacking opportunities. They got a couple penalties, and that's pretty much been it. Otherwise, they haven't been successful. And guess what? Teams can go through those type of runs where they get a couple direct counter opportunities and they hit them, but it's not sustainable at all. They're still the second worst team in this league. So But again, Brighton is just so inefficient with their shooting, and I generally think you're going to see, Brighton is about they're most successful when they're able to build up. Sometimes like a 2-1-7 in general. Like it's usually a single pivot midfielder, but in general, what they want to do under Herzler is direct balls up to the forwards, overload that last line, win those second balls, and create that kind of direct counterattacking opportunity. It was a problem under De Zerbi, and it's still a problem under Herzler. They just can't break down low blocks. So if you don't believe me, go watch the Brentford match. How worried am I about Ipswich staying? I'm not that worried. I don't think they're looking a lot better. I think they're looking better out of possession. They're not looking better in possession. I'm not that worried, especially now that David Moyes is in charge. Whew, that was a relief. I think Wolves is going to continue to improve as well. So I think the gap you're going to see between those teams is going to be, and if you don't believe me, just go look at the underlying numbers. Like, this is the same case. This is like the exact same story last year. And if you don't believe me, go compare the expected goals differential table on FPREF from last year to this year. The 3 newly promoted teams are far and away the 3 worst teams in this league. It was the same story last year. So I'll put it this way, Antonio. If Ipswich stays up, it'll be a miracle. And if it happens, it happens. But right now, I'm feeling very comfortable and in a very good position. And I don't think they're even close to being a team that can really compete in this league. They may nick some results here and there, just like Luton Town did last year. But it's not sustainable. And they really shouldn't be staying up. All right. And then the final match, Manchester United and Southampton. Yeah, I have Ipswich in terms of simulations right now, which you can see on my Substack. It's from last week. I think I did it. I have Ipswich at minus 180 to be relegated right now. So 64.3%. To be relegated. And then I have Wolves at about 30%, and Everton at about 26%. So that both those are around plus 250. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, still some value. If you haven't joined the party yet on Ipswich to be relegated, this would be the time to buy it for sure. Who do they have? I was trying to remember. I think they have somebody different. Let me see. Can't remember who they have coming up on the weekend after Brighton. Let's see here. Oh, they got Manchester City at home and then Liverpool away. So there you go. This would be a great time to buy. Home Southampton, away Villa, home Tottenham, away United, away Palace. Yeah, that's tough. They do finish out with Everton, Brentford, Leicester, and West Ham. So I'm hoping by when they play Newcastle away in Matchweek 34 that this will kind of be wrapped up. That'd be my hope. But we'll see. It might be a sweat till the end, but that's okay. All right, so final match, United and Southampton. I like both teams to score at minus 110. Here's my thinking behind it. Southampton really hasn't changed drastically under Juric comparatively to what they were under Russell Martin. Now they're not being, as crazy with their build-up and stuff, but they're still trying to play through with a lot of short passes. And Brentford killed them. Just killed them. Brentford beat them 5-0. They destroyed them. They turned them over high. They did everything awesome. And that's a huge worry here against United because United, guess what? United can press. United's good. United's a good pressing team. I'll say it. Man, they're finally committing to a man-to-man press, and the back line is committing to pushing up on the forwards when teams try to play direct balls. It's beautiful. It's actually really good. And I noted this in the best midweek best bets article, but United pass per defensive action since Amorim took over is at 8.9. Under Ten Hag, it was 10.8. That 8.9 is the second best mark in the Premier League during that time span since November 24th, only Tottenham being better. The press has worked and the press has gotten a lot better. So give them credit where credit's due. They still, I mean, so in theory, for a team that doesn't really have much final third end product, creating those high turnovers and giving themselves easy transition opportunities gives them a really good shot at piling up the goals here. Now, they're not going to turn Southampton over high every single time. There are times where Southampton is going to be able to break through that. And when Southampton does actually break through, they're pretty decent. They're okay. They have, if they want to play direct, they have a very big Onacho, I think is how you pronounce his name. I apologize if I mispronounced that. But they have an aerial threat up there. They have, some decent guys like, Dibbling and Flynn Downs who can really cause some problems and control the ball and dribble past guys. And the biggest thing that, of course, with United, is they still suck at defending set pieces. They're dead last in the Premier League in XG per set piece. And Southampton's 5th offensively. They've actually been pretty efficient on them. So I think that's a good route for them to score. I have both teams predicted at minus 170. So I'll take a shot at minus 110. I think there's some value on that. All right. Any questions for the Premier League? Actually, you know what? Save the questions for the end. I'll just quickly run through the couple of Bundesliga ones. Any questions? Premier League, Bundesliga Serie A, life, whatever. Any questions you got, put them in the chat. I'll just quickly read off my 2 Bundesliga picks for the midweek. Freiburg +0.5 against Frankfurt. It looks like Omar Mamouche is off to Manchester City, which obviously hurts Frankfurt quite a bit. Frankfurt with Mamouche and Ekitike, really good striking partnership. Ekitike is a box crashing striker, where Marmouche is the great dribbler guy who plays the balls in behind and everything like that. So losing that kind of takes away from what the other striker is able to do. And also Freiburg's a really good defensive team sitting in a 4-4-2. They've been a little more aggressive out of possession. They've been pressing higher a little bit more often than they have done in the past. Fourth and turning opponents over in dangerous areas, which is generally a good thing and a good step in the right direction. But, the biggest thing in this match really is going to come down to Frankfurt's ability to defend Freiburg's direct balls that they can send up to their forwards. They do that a lot. And I was kind of rewatching some highlights from the St. Pauli match over the weekend for Frankfurt. There's a couple times that St. Pauli, Frankfurt's playing a high line, played one simple direct ball over the top and were able to get numerical advantages. So Freiburg, who at times will push 5-6 guys up on that last line of defense, that is a real problem for Frankfurt here defensively. So I think they're just generally overvalued. So I like Freiburg +0.5 quite a bit. And the Gladbach +0.5 against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg very much overperforming. They have scored 32 goals off of 22 expected in 16 matches. That's crazy overperformance. But really, they just struggle against teams that want to play direct and teams that want to play balls over the top of Hasenhüttl's press. You saw that when Freiburg played them. Dortmund was able to manipulate their defensive structure with with Girassi dropping deep and build up. Gladbach can obviously do that as well. Gladbach will also love to get the ball into wide areas. They send a lot of crosses, which will generally work against Wolfsburg. Also, Wolfsburg, worst set-piece defending team in the Bundesliga. Gladbach, 4th most expected goals created off of set pieces. So I got Gladbach as a road favorite here. I'm not seeing any major injuries for them. So I think it's kind of crazy that Wolfsburg is this high of a price. So I like Gladbach +0.5 quite a bit here. I think that they could definitely win this match. So yeah, I gave my thoughts on Atletico winning La Liga. So I have value on them right now from simulations. By the way, tomorrow I'll have Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and Liga on simulations out for everybody. But my thinking, Antonio, behind, I'm probably going to eventually back Atletico to win the league. They play Real Madrid in, I think, 3 matches. Let me pull up their schedule. There we go. Oh, by the way, when I was going on FP Ref, I saw a picture of Deitch. What do you think Deitch's next job is? Just put in the chat what you think it is. So here's the difficult. So they have, the back-to-back Champions League matches. So they'll play Leverkusen, Villarreal, Salzburg, Mallorca, and then Real Madrid on February 9th. I think after that Real Madrid match, there is a potential where we can get a better price on them to win the league, because I read off their schedule to finish the season. So after Real Madrid, they'll get both Bilbao and Barcelona at home. But here's their schedule to finish the season: Espanyol, Sevilla, Valladolid, Las Palmas, Vallecano, Alaves, Real Sociedad, that's at home, Osasuna, Real Betis, also at home, Girona. That's an incredibly easy schedule to finish off the season. So my thinking is, can we get a better price on them when they're going through their hard part of the schedule, right? We're kind of buying high in general. They've won, 15 straight matches or whatever it is. So you're kind of buying high in the market in general. And I think you can generally just wait for a better price on Atletico. I actually was thinking the other day, I might do this. This week it just doesn't make sense because there's so many matches going on. But doing a real deep dive into Atletico and how they've kind of gone back to old school Simeone ball out of possession. They've done some different things in possession, which I think are kind of interesting. But yeah, I generally think that you can wait and find a better price on Atletico to win La Liga. I don't have anything in Serie A. I mean, I was kind of looking at Juventus, but it doesn't look like Vlahovic's going to be healthy to play for Juventus. Just generally don't want to bet against Atalanta, if I'm just being honest. Do show like a little bit of value on it, but if you account for injuries, I just don't really want to do it. I was thinking, maybe Scott Parker moves on somewhere. Maybe the job opens up back at Burnley. The perfect place for him is if we're being honest, is his old stomping grounds at Millwall. That would be the perfect. That team would be perfect for him. But they just hired a new manager, so that's not happening. He'll probably take some time, but he'll be back. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere. Atalanta's taken, they have taken kind of a step back recently. So this might be the time to get on them, but I just can't do it. Plymouth Argyle. I gotta watch that speech. Everybody was raving about the speech from the Plymouth Argyle manager. I gotta go watch it. Also gotta order a Plymouth Argyle jersey. Gotta get around to doing that. Any value on AC? I don't have any value on AC Milan tomorrow. I don't. I'm sorry. Deitch is gonna be on Sky Sports. He should be. He'd be a great pundit. He'd be him in that fourth chair with Keane, Carragher, and Neville. Now that'd be great. I would watch that. I would absolutely watch that. You have over total goals for any games tomorrow. I don't have any overs for tomorrow. The way he actively refused to play the best players. What do you mean by that? Who didn't he play? What do you mean he didn't play his best players as their best positions? Explain yourself, Mark. Could really hurt him with a club that wants a modern DOF setup. I don't know what that means. He was hurt. Brentford was hurt. They weren't rushing him back. They rushed him back first time. He got injured again. So they're trying to keep him healthy. Everton always does the right thing. Don't try and badmouth Everton on this show. That's not what we do here. Yeah, so keep putting questions in the chat. I'll just kind of go over again for people who didn't. I know you're a toffee, Mark. Don't badmouth Everton in here. This is a safe space. This is an Everton positivity zone. There's too much negativity with Everton fans. We need to have some type of positivity. I'm glad David Moyes is back. Do I have a second favorite Prem team after the Arsenal? Probably Brentford. It used to be Brighton. Now it's Brentford. I love the Bees. I just love them so much. Unders are the way to go in colder months. I have not done. I would be honest with you. I need to do I haven't done it. It's a mountain of data collection, but I would really like to go through and do some data collection on colder months and what they do to totals and shots and expected goals and all that kind of stuff. It's just I have a list of a million projects that I want to get to in this wonderful game, and that's one of them. Maybe one day I'll get to it. Probably not anytime soon. Would be interesting. I think what you'll find that, and I really want to do this would be way harder. I'd need to learn how to code and web scrape to do this, but I'd really like to see the differences in performances for teams coming off European competitions against teams that didn't play in them, like from a Wednesday or Thursday to whatever it is. I would really like to put a numerical value on that. But again, that requires a lot of web scraping, and I'm equipped, but I don't have time to do that. Is Liverpool over minus 400 to win the league crazy to me? Well, I can tell you this much. I have Liverpool at minus 287 to win the league right now. But Arsenal has Saka injured, and they're really the only team that has a chance of catching up. If Saka was healthy, I'd probably come on here and I'd tell you Arsenal at plus 450, you got to hammer that. But I think they built up too big of a lead. They can kind of, it's one of those run away and hide situations. I think Liverpool is getting close to that type of level. We'll see, though. I think there's some vulnerabilities in Liverpool that they could be exposed. And who knows? Maybe this. I would, just from a fan perspective. I mean, obviously, I love Arsenal, and I would love to see them get back into the title race. But it would be fun if Nottingham Forest won and Arsenal won and Liverpool lost, and suddenly, I know Liverpool still has a game in hand, but they're only 3 points back. And then David Moyes pulls off a masterclass in the makeup game, and suddenly it's a 3-point gap. Now, that would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. I haven't stopped to consider if Nottingham Forest is Leicester. I don't think they are, but it would be fun. I would very much, of course, that would probably be at Arsenal's expense. PSG agreed terms with Kvaratskhelia. Why? That's my question. They already have a baller left winger. Barcola is amazing. Why did they need to spend that much money on Kvaratskhelia? I don't understand it. Were they just buying talent? Because they have 2 guys for the same position. It doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, they have Barcola. He's amazing. He's a baller. Him and Dembele are a problem. Anytime goal scorer. Ishak, Eze. I'm not even looking at the odds right now. I'm just thinking in my head what's most likely to happen through all these matches. So I'll give you 5. All right. I don't know what the odds are on them right now because I haven't looked through them, but I'm just going to give you in my head what I think the most likely ones are. And I'm going to try to take away, Ishak is probably the most obvious one. Obviously, I'm not going to do Holland because that's not any fun. Let's go Wisa. Eze. Ishak. Kai Havertz. and Bruno Fernandes. There's your 5. I don't know if Arsenal does anything. I mean, like, I feel like this. I mean, unless they're dropping like a ton of money on a striker right now, which I don't think makes much sense from a long-term perspective. I think they're fine. I think the squad right now is good enough. I don't think you need to panic at this point. He will, Brock. Just wait. You just wait. You're gonna eat those words. Yeah, it's just like, I think I've said this like a million times. Arsenal's a striker away from being the best team in the world. That hurts. No, I don't want Jokerit. I want Ishak. I don't care if we have to pay $200 million for him. I want Ishak. I want Ishak. That's the only guy I want. Or Oshman. But he's got attitude problems. I don't really want to deal with him. If we can get him cheap, I mean, that's might be a way. But my background in becoming an Arsenal fan. So I'll just tell you my background, how I got into soccer, and then that kind of leads into being an Arsenal fan. Soccer wasn't one of the sports that I really played growing up. I played when I was a kid, but not really into high school or anything like that. I played baseball, I played tennis, and I played golf. Were my main sports. Played baseball and tennis in college. But I grew up next to 2 kids who ended up playing D1 soccer. So we played FIFA all the time. We played soccer together. We watched it. So I really enjoyed it from a young age. And then once I graduated college, I took a summer internship after I graduated college because I needed more credits to sit for the CPA exam after getting my accounting degree. And I went to London for 3 months. And it was during the 2014 World Cup. And I just kind of decided there. I didn't really have a team at that point. Like, I still watch soccer, but I never really was like a fan of any team. I just kind of enjoyed watching it and playing FIFA. I went to London, and I told myself, I was like, I'm going to tour all of the stadiums in London, and I'm going to make a decision on which one I enjoyed the most. Right. And I went to Chelsea. I went to Selhurst Park. I went to White Hart Lane when it was the older White Hart Lane. I went to the Emirates. I did not go to West Ham or Fulham. But I loved Arsenal the most out of all of them. And so I kind of just made a decision right there that Arsenal was going to be my team. Was a terrible decision, if we're being honest, comparatively to some of the other teams. I could have chosen, City or somebody or Chelsea, who had actually won trophies and stuff. But it's been fun. No, I've enjoyed it a lot. I've really enjoyed being an Arsenal fan through the ups and downs. It's truly a lot of fun. So that's kind of my background. I wasn't really like bandwagoning off of anything. I kind of was just like, all right, like, I just want to go look at all these stadiums, and whatever one I get the best feeling from, that'll be my team. So that's kind of how I became a fan. I know that's probably, the Europeans are probably just like, oh my gosh, what a stupid American. Like, that's how you pick your team. Oh, it's so dumb. I should have chosen Chelsea. You're right. I should have. I know. I loved the Emirates at the time. I loved it. And of course, those were the days of, Saka's getting up there. My favorite Arsenal player is Ozil. He was incredible during all those years. But I remember the Monaco defeat in the Champions League. I remember Bayern 10-2. I remember the day that they re-signed Ozil and got Aubameyang. I thought we were winning the league. It was amazing. Still, like, the most crazy moment, I think, as an Arsenal fan was 2015 for me. Early morning in my basement when they beat Leicester on like the final kick of the game. And I think they closed the gap to like 1 or 2 points for the title. I was going so nuts. It was amazing. That was probably, in terms of joy, that was probably the most joyful moment I've had as an Arsenal fan. And of course, they didn't win the league. So, all right, let me catch up with some of these. I probably won't do any projections for Coup de France. I'll be flat honest with you. It would only be a few matches, and I don't even know if they're going to play full strike lineups. So probably not. Yeah, Savinho. Yeah, is it Savinho or Savio? Because he wears Savinho on the back of his shirt, and then every single thing says Savio. I love London. I absolutely loved it. I have not been back. I want to go back so bad. I could have stayed. I loved it so much. It was so much fun. Yeah, London's an amazing city. Yeah, it's been a tough time supporting Arsenal, but you know what? That's, as a fan, that's what makes when they finally get over the hump. That's what makes it so joyful, right? Because you spend all those years in pain and heartache and hope, and once you finally get over that hump, it's just so beautiful, right? Like, I'm never gonna watch my Iowa Hawkeyes win anything in terms of football or basketball. Men's, that is, at least. Women's basketball, we almost had one. But I'm never gonna watch Iowa football win a national title. Oh man. So and I've watched my Red Sox. I've watched them win many titles. They're the only team that's brought me really any titles of any of the teams that I really support. I don't really have a hockey team, and I don't really have an NBA team. So it's just, for me, it's just Arsenal, Iowa, Red Sox. I'm also an Atlanta Falcons fan, and they're never going to win anything. So I have not watched the Arsenal show on Amazon Prime. I probably won't ever. Yeah, Savio. I put this in the notes. He's probably going to get in a lot of 1v1 situations, 3.4 successful take-ons per 90. Yeah, him for goal and assist might be a way to go against Brentford. DCL injury prone. Not anymore. DCL's not injury prone anymore. Yeah, Savinho looks great. I don't know if it's Savinho or Savio. Yeah, Chicago fans. Yeah, I'm sorry. And now, I'm sorry, but Mike McCarthy is interviewing for the Bears job. That's like the worst thing I could ever hear if I was a fan of any team. But that's beside the point. All right. Any more questions? So maybe tomorrow, we'll do a live watch along during the matches. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll do some live bets. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just hang out and chat. But for sure Wednesday. For sure Wednesday, probably around like 2:45 p.m. Eastern time. Would be good. It was me and DeBundo will go live for the North London Derby. It'll be a lot of fun. If these live watch-alongs take off, I'll do a lot more of them. I'll try to do one for the final day of the Champions League. There'll be a lot going on. We won't be able to live bet anything really, but it'll just be kind of fun to watch the table move up and down on the final day. So I'll do a live watch along for that. If you guys want to join me, even if it's just 15 of us here, that's totally fine with me. I don't care. So yeah, I think that'll about do it for tonight. Thank you everybody for tuning in. This was a lot of fun. Enjoy the midweek slate. I'll stay tuned to my Twitter, or obviously if you can subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get alerted if I do go live tomorrow. So yeah, we'll see you maybe tomorrow, and if not, I'll see you on Wednesday, and then after Wednesday, I'll obviously we'll try to do another one of these live streams for the weekend slate on Friday or something like that. All right. That's it. Thank you guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Good luck with your bets. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow, but for sure on Wednesday.